Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee, the actual woods of Middle Tennessee, the home of Davy Crockett. Yes, I'm going to keep it simple. One human, okay, out of many from Tennessee. Now, a lot of ways it's going to be simpler this week. I decided to come over into the woods, bring the camera, and hunt some bear. See, there's one right down there. He is not very bright. He's just going to wait for me. In fact, let me put a shot in him. You want to? I'm going to hunt bear quietly in a stealthy manner. Boom, I'll turn my hat around. Yeah, I've been shooting a lot this week, and on a couple of different days. Machine guns, assault rifles, firearms that would actually be classified that way, right? But yeah, and you know what? I've been meaning to do this. I think I've done this one time, maybe twice, on Sunday shoot-arounds. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a shooting the breeze. I just shot some arrows. I was in the mood to do it. That's what Sunday shoot-around's all about. What I'm in the mood to shoot, for the most part. And also what you all are in the mood to see. I'd sort of keep track of everybody, several million of you. I know what you'd like to see. So even the ones that watch the Sunday videos. Again, disclaimer, this is a Sunday video. It's different. I'm different. I'm even more weird on Sundays, okay? Weirder, more weird, yeah, both. So anyway, I got a couple of bullet points I might address. Thanks for the birthday greetings, everybody. Appreciate that. I'm a little bit older, and thankfully I don't feel older. Really, I talked about that last week, and a lot of that's attributed to just trying to get healthier, and actually getting healthier. I think eating more healthy foods, and kind of keto. Many of you know that. And yeah, I can tell a big difference, and I'm down about 212, as of about, over the last 4 or 5 years, I was up to 265, 270 at one point, and went down about 30 pounds there just by trying to starve myself, not eating, even when I was really hungry, that kind of thing for a while, and then got back at it again here in recent months, and did a little more scientific research, and figured out it's not how much you eat, it's what you eat, right? That crazy food pyramid that I guess kids are still being taught is unbelievably inaccurate and horrible. It's probably responsible for most of the chronic diseases out there, really. But anyway, that's another topic. I am not certified in any of those areas. I'm not even certified in archery. I'm not even certified in shooting firearms. I was certified as a range officer for a period of time. Well, I don't know if I'm still certified. If you're a range officer in IPSC, you go through the course and get your certificate. Are you forever certified? I don't know. But anyway, life is good when you have no credentials or certification. Keeps it simple, doesn't it? I gotta turn that around. Okay, so I can be cool, right? I might just always wear my hat backwards to be cool. If you don't know why, I've explained that in archery videos. When you pull the string back, it comes right back in your face and hits the bill of your cap. Okay, so yeah, in fact, been shooting a little bit of archery lately. Went to a 3D shoot, Buck Hollow bow hunters, maybe a Twin Oaks, not sure. And got some pretty good clubs around here. They don't have a lot of matches, and have a hard time, there's 3 or 4 of us that get together and do those, and we get together at least twice, maybe 3 or 4 times some years, and shoot those 3D matches. Are kind of fun. They're definitely fun, or we wouldn't do it. We don't even keep score. That's how much fun they are for us. It's just fun if you've never done it. I've talked about it before, just shooting, and you don't have to have animals. I have a mixture, of square targets and things, and a couple of animals, and that's my grandson's favorite. He's bring him over and let him reacquaint himself with Mr. Bear when he comes. Yeah, give him a hug, kind of a bear hug. So anyway, yeah, over here I don't have, I was going to play the music and didn't, so I'm sorry you have to suffer without it. But What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'll still shoot him again. Now I will have to retrieve some arrows. Okay, you may just have to talk amongst yourselves. You think he needs a neck shot? Oh, ouch! This isn't all that far away. You know, I didn't want to have arrows out in the woods and be out of ammo, you know, and want to shoot, you know, because, you know, we do live things, we don't cut. Rarely do we ever cut. What was I saying? I don't remember. But anyway, I got a note. I want to give credit to, again, to the governor of Illinois, because last week I mentioned his dumbest comment of the week, probably. I really think that might be the dumbest comment of the year. So we need to make sure he gets full credit for that comment about when he said our founders carried muskets, not, what did he say, assault rifles? You know, not assault weapons. Carried muskets, not assault weapons. So, you know, that just deserves repeating, I think. And that's the beauty of people. There's another quote, another line about how something to the effect that is several, I think, on the topic, how the most ignorant people talk the loudest. Probably me. But the most ignorant, the dumbest people tend to be the most confident. You ever notice that? Now, sometimes someone who's really brilliant is very confident as well. But oftentimes, someone who's just not very bright and is quite ignorant, they can just exude an extreme level of confidence. You know, I guess it's that again, the Alexander Pope line I keep quoting about how a little learning is a dangerous thing. You know, I talked about that a lot one week, how we get a little bit of learning on a topic and it's human nature, you know. That's not just stupid people, that's all of us. We tend to, well, yeah, probably in that group anyway, but I don't know, we just as humans, we tend to think we're experts pretty quickly. And then we realize the more we learn, how dumb we are, right? The further up that ladder we get, the longer we see that ladder is. So that's just a fact of life, and we tend to have to keep relearning that, don't we? All right, let's shoot him again. How about in the belly button? Wherever that is. Oh, I almost pulled left. It's just like shooting a pistol if you're not careful. And I probably do it every time because I don't really practice this. I'm not a competitor. But you know, when you're shooting a bow, you know, you want that bow. And I know you're supposed to have it at an angle or more. I don't do that so much, but you're supposed to be consistent. That's the main thing. But if you, as you're firing, releasing the arrow, you let it kind of jerk a little bit. Same thing, right? Just like shooting a rifle or a handgun. You can go right or left. In fact, this particular target is the one where probably, I don't know about me, but John has probably, I'll speak badly about him. He doesn't shoot that much at all. And this is one that tests your windage. It really does. Even though it's a big old target, we shoot actually from further behind than where I am. And if you're a little bit off on windage, you jerk it all, you know. That arrow is down in the woods. We've lost a few down there. It's just the way it goes, though. So, you know, it was cool having Silencer Central here this week. Brandon Maddox, the owner, CEO, and everything. Some of his folks, his daughter. I had a great day. I guess it was Tuesday. Really good visit. A little FAQ you might have seen already about the e-forms and everything. It's one of the reasons I wanted to do that. And he brought a G3. You know, y'all have been somebody out there. When I say you all or you people, it's you all. Some of you have been requesting that we do an H&K or G3 of some kind, PTR, 91, whatever, Century Arms, whatever form of it, do a G3. Can you believe we've been doing these videos 14 years, I guess, and have never done a G3? Just haven't quite had access to one. Came close, and then I know of another one locally that is on the list. I was going to get, was offered to us, and just haven't gotten around to it. And then discovered that Brandon has a real one. I mean, as much as probably most people do. It started out semi-auto, but with a full auto trigger pack. And so that's pretty cool. Shot that thing. And I hadn't fired one of those in about over 30 years, I guess. I had a HK93, which is the kind of the 5.56 version of it, back in 82, too long in there. It was my first black rifle. I bought that, man, it was a couple of years, I think, at least a year before I bought my first AR. And I paid $300. It's $4,000 or $5,000 now, I guess, but I let it go, of course. But I mean, it's hard for many of you to realize what it was like back in 1980, 81, 82, any time maybe in the 80s, but everybody didn't have an AR-15. Let me put it that way. Most people didn't. There's a parallel, I guess, with me, with those and computers. I got into them in early 80s, with my AR and that HK, the Uzi, same thing. That was 82, 3, long hair. And then, Apple II computers, Macintoshes, I was into all that stuff. And my friends, most of them weren't into that at all. So I was kind of a loner when it came to the coolest stuff, But I enjoyed it, and it's been a great hobby, all of it. The computers have served me well all the way through my career, and firearms have served me well. I've enjoyed them. But anyway, back to started saying 91, actually the G3. Gewehr 3, this one's German made, the H&K G3. So those things, if you ever fired them, you know what I'm saying. Well, they're not so bad semi-auto. They have a little more of a violent action than an M14 or an FAL, but not tremendously. But when you put that thing on the flip the fun switch, man, you better be ready. I mean, really, you had better be ready. But that's kind of true for the others too. I've not fired too many full auto 308s, and I did fire John's M60 this week, but that is a totally different class. Hardly any recoil. I mean, the difference is dramatic. I was shooting the G3, in fact, on Tuesday. A fair amount. Did a video with it, while I had it here. I hope the video comes out all right, because I didn't have the gun until like an hour before. I was doing a video on this gun and act like I know something about it, take it apart, And, but I had fired it, in that video a lot, and tested it before we started, and then after the video, fired some more. And because I don't know when I'll get a chance with a G3, full auto. And but then we did a little thing with the shorts you might have seen, with John shooting it and me shooting the M60, and I've been shooting the G3, so I had to go win his M60, and so I pulled the trigger. I was expecting recoil like out of that G3. It was just dramatically different. Same cartridge, which is a lesson for all of us. The heavier the gun, and it depends on the action as well, but the weight of the gun, gosh, the size of the gun and weight makes a big difference, it just really does. And that's why we make a mistake sometimes when we are new to firearms and go to a gun shop, gun show, and find some cute little pistol. Oh, this is perfect size, and don't think about what it's like for shooting. Now, it might be fine, and maybe even initially. It might be fine later on if it's not even now, once you get a little more competent, if you're new to shooting. But lots of times you can make a mistake by picking up that light little handy feeling firearm, can't you? Because they're no fun to shoot. But it depends on what you're going to do with it. If it's strictly a self-defense and you can shoot it pretty well, and you don't care, we don't care if it hurts us, if we have to use it in self-defense, right? Duh, that's a minor detail. As long as we can shoot it well. That's why people carry some of these little scandium, titanium Smith & Wessons that are like a potato chip that float away, if you drop them in .357 Magnum or something. As long as they can hang on to them, it's good. And you got to hope they test fire those things a few times, grit their teeth and test fire them. Do I have another arrow? Oh, I do. What do you want me shooting? Should I take a chance and see if I can put one in his eyeball? Sounds violent, doesn't it? Well, if there's any youngsters watching, he's not real. Okay. All right. I'm going to put one up there in his head. Oh, pretty close, if not in it. That was mean. Let me grab those real quick. In his forehead. In his forehead. All right. Oh, sorry about that. One in the neck, in the lung, in the arm, in the chest, in the heart, chest, whatever. These are wonderful targets. This is a great innovation. These kinds of things. The technology has really advanced on this sort of thing. The type of foam. The earliest ones, they were hard to pull out. Well, they weren't impossible. They weren't like styrofoam. A lot of people just shot into styrofoam like 30 years ago. But these sorts of things, and a lot of the box targets, the square ones you see at at your sporting goods stores, if you've never had any experience doing what I'm doing, the whole purpose of those is, well, to give you a target, imagine that, but also they're really easy to pull the arrows out of. This guy is easier than a lot of these even. So there's a variation among the 3D animal targets for sure. Some of them are tough to get the arrow out of actually, but then others are easier. So that's pretty important, because if you put an arrow in it, guess what? You got to get it out before he bleeds to death, or she. Oh no, there we go. What are your pronouns? Nope. Archery is fun. And, I've used the same 6 arrows. I generally pack about 6 arrows if I go to a match or just come around here shooting or whatever I'm doing. And I have not lost an arrow in a long time, knock on wood. Not even damaged. All that falls under lost. If you damage one, it's, not really repairable. I consider it lost. It's gone. And, the arrows, these are pretty nice arrows. And they're about $10 a piece, I think. But that sounds expensive, but it's not. It's cheap because you just keep shooting them over and over for years. So that's just one of life's lessons that I knew you were worried about. So what else is going on? What else was I going to mention? Oh yeah, the scorpion. Somebody asked me about it. Figured that one out. And we did another video which I'll post soon. On the Scorpion, the Evo 3 S1 CZ, that I really like that pistol. It's a pistol, right? And that's why with the brace, some of you mentioned that I was not really supposed to put a pad on it, the limb saver. And I thought, yeah, you're probably right. That's, I think, considered a no-no. So many gray areas, with those braces and all this crazy stuff, and new rulings and letters on that all the time. And I thought, well, I don't know that, we have a higher bar in a lot of ways, of course, because we're so public, and we don't want to teach the wrong lessons, okay? Lead you down the wrong path, which I think I said in the second video. So we have an obligation, and so I just took it down and we redid it, and then I just won't put a pad on it in a video. No, I won't. I would never do that again. And really, I don't need it on that. It was just kind of an afterthought before the video. I didn't have one on it in the Sunday video. It didn't even hardly occur to me. It was just before the main video. I thought, one of those pads that fit on this, because it always helps me. With some firearms, it's more essential than others. Now, if you're new to what I'm talking about, it is a pad, but it's for the length of pull, to add a little bit to the length. And that apparently is a no-no, I think, with it. Who knows? It's really silly, those short-barreled rifle and short-barreled shotgun regulations. It's like, what difference should it make with that? But anyway, I put it back. We redid the video, so it's fun. I got to shoot some more. Yeah, and I got another issue with it. I'll maybe tell you about later. But it's strictly the fact that whoever customized that one, they got all the coolest parts on it, and you'll see in the video that helped me. That was good in a way, because you all told me what was on it, you know, in that first video before I took it down. HB Industries on a lot of it, the Magpul, and just different, you know, I think mag release. And but anyway, there was a consensus of what everything was. You all knew what was on there, because a lot of people have those and have fixed them up and changed out the parts that are annoying. And whoever had that one did a good job, didn't they? Apparently they got the good parts on that thing. That's why when I picked it up in the gun shop, and I felt that it just felt more ergonomic, and I liked it better than the one we even did the video with, you know, earlier on, a couple of years ago. So that explains it. You know, that stuff had been replaced, charging handle, trigger, and safety, a lot of it. Even the stock, or the brace, cheek piece, cheek rest, and the brace on the cheek rest, and just the whole 9 yards. But they put a carbine handguard on it, so that presents a little bit of an issue. Putting a suppressor on it, well, actually it does not. Creates a little bit of an issue getting the suppressor off of it if it's a 2-piece or 3-piece suppressor. Yeah. And guess how I learned that? Yeah. The best way to learn, from the bite of the fire, right? That's how you learn the best. So anyway, we'll get it off, and yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'll put a different hand guard on it, or what I'll do. Figure out an easier way to get that suppressor off. Okay, can I shoot another arrow? By the way, for anybody that cares, we got videos on this bow. This is, gosh, I've had this hybrid longbow made by Hummingbird for what? Probably 20 years. I probably need to do a 20-year anniversary on this thing. I don't know if I kept records on it, but it's been a long time. The maker has passed on. Ben Graham, a great company. Hummingbird bows. They were famous. I think they're still operating with some different folks. But beautiful bows. This is my favorite. And it's a longbow. It's a hybrid longbow. It's kind of a hybrid of a longbow. Like I say, but it's light and handy, and I actually shoot it better than my big recurve that I have. All right, speaking of that, let's put an arrow on this guy. Boom. It's a lot of fun shooting arrows. You do need, if you get into archery, you do need a backstop. You need something to shoot arrows into like this. And there's all kinds of targets for $30. You can go find something like this that's really easy to pull out of. Man, it'll be an animal. But these things can be expensive, some of them. But man, the old days of shooting into a bale of hay, which really doesn't stop it unless it's a very weak bow, you know, or styrofoam, which even if you got a nice big block of it, it's hard to get them out of there, and that stuff is really messy. So there's a lot of great targets. Boom. And if you get into it, start up close, so you're not throwing them all over the place and missing the whole thing, kind of like darts. So you're hitting the board. It's like shooting a basketball. Shoot from where you can hit. Master that distance pretty well, and then move back a little is a way to do that. And so I'm an expert in everything, aren't I? Yeah. Well, not really. Jack of all trades. I'm trying to think what else I shot. Well, one reason I was in the mood to shoot the bow, I think, was because I did shoot the M60 bunch this week, that G3. Brandon brought a MP5 suppressed. Well, yeah, MP5. We suppressed it and fired that some. And gosh, what else? A bunch of stuff. So I was in the mood for just a quiet afternoon of shooting some arrows. No earplugs, nothing. Not even any singing today, right? So, unless I do it. So it's kind of neat. What else? Do I have any advice? I think I made a note about advice for young people. Oh yeah, I did have a note. My advice for young people. Again, get old. Then you won't need young people advice, but I don't know if this is one of the things. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get used to something? How simple it is to get used to something? Have you ever, like in your office or in your room, if you're really young, in your bedroom or your room or office area or something, you get a box of something you're not sure what to do with, or a box of books or whatever it is. And so I'll set it here for now. You know where I'm going, don't you? and then it stays there a while. You get used to it being there, walking around it, and you're not still sure exactly where to put it. You got a million things to do. You don't have time to think about it right now. That's why you set it down there in the first place, right? So we tend to, as humans, get used to things like that. Have you noticed that? You know, wild. It could be a piece of furniture you buy and you're not sure where to put it, and you bring it home from the flea market, and you say, well, it's kind of a bookcase sort of thing or whatever it is. I don't know where we're going to put this thing. We thought we knew. Well, let's just put it here for right now, sort of in a way, but we'll figure it out later. Just set it here for now. Well, 6 months later, it's still there for now, right? So it's just a weird thing. That's how my office gets cluttered. My area, whatever I am, reloading area gets cluttered. You know, you put something, well, I don't know what to do with this. You put it over there, you know, and you put something else over there. You end up with a pile of stuff, right? Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Probably many of you, your office, your area, wherever you work. It's a real challenge. It's like a lot of things. If you don't stay on top of it, like every hour, every minute, or when you put something down, you don't put it down. You put it somewhere where it can be permanently. Unless you're really on top of that, it's like everything else, any other habit, isn't it? Like overeating or smoking or anything you're trying to get rid of. And, but it's just amazing how we can just learn to live like with clutter, you know. And maybe there's a lesson in that. Maybe there's other things that we've got to doing, habits we've meant to break, but we haven't gotten around to it. We've gotten used to doing it, and so 50 years later or 30 years later, we're still doing that, or that box of books is still there in the way, you know, that kind of thing. I speak from experience. Boy, do I. I speak from extreme experience on this topic. Although, I mean, I'm not in a rut as bad as some people probably. You know, it's really easy to get in a rut and stay there and not get out. You're afraid to get out. With me, it's mostly just, don't think about it, ADD probably, just, you know, moving on to something else. Because I have, through my life, gotten into different things, not been afraid to do something a little different, you know, and yeah, it's been good in a lot of ways. But I'm really guilty of that, boy, especially papers, you know, and we're all involved in, gosh, so many things, aren't we? Life must have been so much simpler in most cases. I know it always seemed simpler in the old days and that kind of thing. It's also rougher, but yeah, you think of, especially if you go back a couple hundred years, they didn't have a million papers and computers and phones and all the stuff and everything. There would be an advantage to be living in extreme poverty in 1820. That would be one advantage. You know, you wouldn't have the clutter maybe to deal with. I don't know. But, you know, it's like when I was still teaching, or like right now, there's always papers and forms and different things, and something to print it out, and the mail you got to get through, and what do I do with this mail? I'll deal with that later. And then you got all that with your office at work, or wherever your work is. So I've got both at home, kind of. And you got the other stuff in the tool room or in the garage. It's the same thing, isn't it? Or in the kitchen, or in the basement, and the lawnmowers and the gas. What do you do? There's just so many different things that we all sort of have to keep up with, you know. And it's really easy to let any part of it to get out of hand, out of control almost. And then, of course, with me, I got all that other stuff going on, then plus this hobby, shooting all these years, decades. And then what do? I complicate that, because I get into archery, and I get into you know, bows, making arrows, actually putting them together myself, you know. And where do I do that and put that? Where are the materials? How do I organize the materials? And reloading about 20 different cases, cartridges, and different things, and sorting the ammo, sorting the cases that I'm going to hand load, sorting the powder, and all that. And then I get into black powder, which is a whole other game in terms of hand loading black powder cases, which I did for a period of time. Had to learn how to do it and get all the equipment right, and then organizing that and labeling that, and where do you put that, and 45-70, 45 Colt, and then the different cleaning methods for all that. And you know, we just really do complicate our lives. We talk about being tranquilized by the trivial, but it's fun, isn't it? Boom, all right. Excuse me a minute while I get my arrow. He still looks the same, like he's not in pain. He's not changed the look on his face one bit. But you notice my quiver here. If you've never done this before, which most of you probably have not, when you're out walking around, now if you're just shooting off the porch or something, you know, it's not a big deal what you do with your arrows, but what you do with your arrows, that's another thing. It's a big deal. And of course, you know from watching Robin Hood or something that the back quivers are popular. Well, popular in the movies. I tried that too, but it didn't work so well. And most people, almost everybody, if you go to a 3D match and they're walking through the woods doing this, shooting these targets, they've got this type of quiver. Virtually everybody, okay? You'll occasionally see a back quiver. Some of those folks are people trying to dress more primitively, you know, just like at a rendezvous or something. Is a lot of that. But these are actually more practical. So you need something that angles the arrow. Notice, you know, you can see it, but it angles the arrows backward. So they're not in your way, all right? And you just grab one, pull them right out, and it's pretty handy. It's kind of a funny looking thing, funny looking holster in a way, but they're smart, and they really are smart design. Pull out an arrow, knock it, and shoot the bear again. Boom. See if I get more accurate with time. All right, what else? Did I have anything else I was going to lie about? I should have some more advice since it's so quiet. I'm not blasting away with guns, don't you think? I know one thing. I had a quote I'd written down about. I've been here on the radio. Yeah, I'm always talking about things that I'm not an expert in. No, wait a minute. Yeah, that's every time I open my mouth, right? Move my lips. But there's this ad on the radio lately, or TV too, I guess, about how the guy's asking, how do I unlock or access the equity in your, he's talking to us, how do you access or unlock the equity in your house? Like, that's a question everybody's asking. They just didn't realize they could unlock the equity. You know, equity, young people. No, I won't assume you don't know what equity means. It means the principal, the value of your house. Okay, everything you have, the equity is the value of it. Like if you have a house that's $500,000 and you got it half paid off, how much equity do you have? 250,000 maybe. Okay, so that's the equity. So how do you? And you may have it all paid off. I'm fortunate to be there. By my age, it should be, right. I have been for a long time, but you don't want to. More advice: you don't want to go into your 60s, really with a house payment if you can avoid it. But how do you unlock the? Of course, they're selling something. Imagine that, it's a commercial. So it's like that's just automatic. Everybody's looking to unlock the equity to access the money in their house. Well, is it? They make it sound like you got a bank vault in your house full of cash or something, and you just can't get it open. What they're selling is what? Same thing everybody's selling. Debt, right? Selling interest. They want to make some interest off of you. Well, yeah, I could unlock a bunch of equity in my house or in this land I'm standing on. Yeah, just like free money. Not really, right? So they're trying to sell you debt. That's what's so funny. But it's the euphemisms, the terms they use. That's good advice for young people. I should have considered that. Young people advice, right? Don't get suckered into that kind of thing. It's just like another credit card. Boom. Oh man, old Mr. Bear. He's a friendly bear. He never gets mad. I can shoot him anywhere. I really can. That thumbnail should. You probably wonder what the heck on that thumbnail then. Boom. I know you'd rather see a 44 Magnum being shot and everything, which you normally do, but I enjoy this. And I'll tell you another thing I'm going to do one Sunday, because I like doing that too, and I'll bring you all along, is I'm going to get my axes out, my throwing axes, and do the same thing. I want to build a new target. We've got that kind of log thing. But I have seen some of these targets that people build at these game rooms or whatever. I was at one in Knoxville, happened by one, and they had 4, 5, 6 targets for throwing axes, real axes, tomahawks, call them. And I took note of how they were made. Took some pictures, so I need to get on that early this summer and build one of those. Maybe it's even semi-portable, but or just have it there close to the gun club range or somewhere where I can drag it out, or even on the main range. But it's more level probably on the gun club range there. The distance you'd be throwing at is like, I don't know what the official distance is. It's probably about 7, 8 yards or something like that. But that's fun too. Get some good throwing axes. I'm into all these violent sports, aren't I? Something weird about me, and I've been this weird a long time. I used to love to throw rocks when I was a kid and shoot BB guns. I spent so much time doing that, and then graduated to bullets and arrows. Boom. Yeah. These are carbon fiber arrows made to look like wood. They're not really wood, okay? Got real feathers fletching on them, and they're pretty nice. I used to use aluminum arrows, and I know carbon fiber was taken over several years back to a lot of the compound shooters and stuff, compound bow shooters. And when they started making these to look more like wood, looked a little bit more primitive, I started taking notice. And I think originally with the carbon fiber, it just sounded too high tech, so people shooting traditional bows would turn their nose down, we're up at carbon fiber stuff, plastic arrow. Well, we were shooting aluminum arrows, I don't think Sitting Bull shot many aluminum arrows, so, you can get carried away with things like that. You're trying to be authentic, trying to be original, and it's cool when people do it because you get to see exactly what they did. There's a guy who sets up at big gun shows around the region. I've seen him, Tulsa and Louisville and around even Nashville, that has, I've talked to him before. I bought something from him one time, I think, but he has arrows he sells, and bows too maybe, but primitive things like this. I don't think he does it, but maybe he does. I mean, I think they're authentically made. They might be made by one of the Native American tribes, I don't know, and then he sells them, I don't know, but they are, not that they would be the only ones who would know how to do it the right way maybe, but I mean, they have flint arrowheads on them, and they're wood, and they're, feathered. I mean, they are the real deal, pretty neat. I don't know what they are, maybe $75 a piece or something now. You wouldn't want to shoot them much, right? But it's neat. So some people go all the way. It's the same way with cowboy action shooting. Some people show up in jeans and and a cowboy hat and that kind of thing. Maybe just some hiking boots or whatever. Kind of play the game to a point. Then other people look like they walk right off a movie set with a total incredible vest and watch and rig and boots that maybe a $500, $1,000 outfit, and do that, and it's kind of neat. I like it. Same with Civil War reenactors, or any kind of reenactor, World War II reenactors or Revolutionary War, whatever. There's people who really get into that. And if you're going to get into that, you sort of have to go all the way, because you'd look kind of foolish out doing a Civil War reenactment if you half your gear, you're wearing sneakers or something, or cargos like me. So I admire people that do that. Some people think that's weird. I think it's great that people are involved in living history like that, whatever their motivation. It's wonderful to see, I think. All right, sorry, Mr. Bear, got another shot at you. Boom. That's my last arrow. Well, I guess I've talked long enough, probably. So anyway, this has been fun. Plus, another thing about archery is it's good to keep your shoulder exercised for this, because it takes different muscles or stresses different tendons and ligaments and things, and you got to pull it back. I've gone over this in archery videos, but to shoot properly, and I'm not an expert, I just self-taught kind of, you want to extend your arm generally, and you want to get this all the way back to your knock point back here, like on your cheek at the same place every time. Same place. All right, that's how you get any kind of accuracy and consistency. Because it's hard enough anyway. It's like shooting a handgun. It's hard enough to hit anything. So you definitely want to, you definitely want to be consistent with how far you got it back. That's why you got a knock point kind of on your jaw or somewhere there. And so you're getting the same, should be getting about the same velocity each time. Pretty important, okay? Because that consistency makes all the difference. Well, what I was going to get at is, let's say I didn't pick this bow up for like 6 months, and I just not exercise that kind of thing, which is different back and everything. If you don't believe me, try it sometime. You can pull every muscle in your back and shoulder. So then I haven't shot for a month or 6 months, haven't picked it up. So I think I'll go shoot a 3D match where you're going to shoot 30 or 50 shots or something, okay? So what happens, you get up and first shot, okay, it's going to be a lot harder for you to pull this thing back, to get it back here, okay? A lot harder. You're going to want to just, and you could do that. You could break into it slowly. So let me just come about halfway back here. So what if I have less velocity? Well, with an arrow, if I shoot less velocity at that, it's probably going to go under him. So I'm not going to be able to hit anything. So all of your training, all your practice and experience with whatever bow you have and arrows that you've been shooting, it's based on shooting from right there, that amount of power, okay? Because it's like a slingshot or anything, and it's hard to hit anything anyway. So you got to have that consistency. And you can really mess yourself up because you want to get it all the way back there so you get the same, let off and everything. And so you need to, if you're going to get into it, I got a rubber tubing, surgical tubing that I'll just exercise with occasionally, keep it if I'm not shooting the bow every day, which I'm not. And just to keep that shoulder used to that pull and everything. And then when I come out to shoot it, I'm okay. All right, I knew you were dying to know all that, right? So I appreciate y'all coming around and hanging out in the woods, because we're deep in the woods right here. So you better check yourself for ticks, okay? Because man, they'll get on you. They'll crawl up your legs. Pleasant thought, right? They fall out of the trees. They get on your shoulders and then down your neck. They get in your hair. They really do. That's why I smell so good today, because I use Avon products. If you didn't know that, Avon Skin So Soft is a really good bug repellent, okay? I've gone through gallons of it, I guess, over the decades, and I use some of the other stuff too on my ankles or legs. I'll spray down there, but I do that every morning. I'm just such a professional, aren't I? I have some other Avon lotion that's not as strong, but I rub it all over myself, around my waist and everywhere in the morning before I get dressed in the summer. And first thing when I get up, ankles, before I put my socks on, 9 yards. And because I've had a tick stuck on my foot, down way under my sock, on the top of my foot. I think it was last spring. And I said, okay, that's not going to happen again. I think maybe I forgot to spray that day. I don't know, because I normally don't do that. So I get my feet, the legs, I use that lotion because it's a milder blend of it. I forget what it's called. It's just body lotion or something. But this other stuff is like bath oil. It's a little stronger, and I can actually have an allergic reaction to that sometimes. I get it in my nose or mouth for sure. But then before I come out, I'll add some of that to my ears and my neck, and around and under my arms a little bit. And it's simple to do. I know it sounds like I'm obsessive and I'm anal about it, but it's simple to do. I keep some in my reloading room in the shed, and I did it before I came over here, just to make sure, because I hadn't been out in the woods yet today. I already had my other treatment, and but I add a little bit to it when I'm coming out here. And then I don't really think about it much. I really don't. It's just I like it that way, so I just go on with what I'm doing, and I'm not always thinking or walking through some weeds or something. I probably picked up 3 ticks on these weeds. I don't really have to think about it because I really don't get them. Yeah. So it's really rare. It's been a long time since I had one. I had one stuck on my waist one day about a month and a half ago. And I think that was a day where I'd been outside after I had a shower, and but there's a lot of problems. I'm not trying to sell you Avon. I'm not your Avon lady. But there's probably other things like that. But I know soldiers use just the tip. It's funny, I was at Fort Campbell. I knew about this from somebody. I had already used it some, but I didn't think it was widespread knowledge. And I was up at Fort Campbell back when they had U.S. Cavalry store across from Gate 4, I guess it was. And that was a store geared to the military. Military gear, nothing but that, knives and military gear, all kinds of stuff in there. Packs and everything. And I remember walking by a counter and they had Avon, skin so soft. And yeah, if I was a soldier, as long as it was okay, if I didn't have to worry about my scent, like if you're a Navy SEAL, maybe you're creeping up somewhere and you don't want anybody to smell you. But it's actually not that strong. But it was funny seeing it there, for the soldiers, So it's real. It's not something I'm making up, okay? And a lot of stuff I tell you, it sounds like something I just dreamed about and came up with, but it's not really. So I probably have talked way too long today and probably have not fired enough guns for you. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Variety is a spice of life. There's just a zen quality about shooting a bow. There really is. Like throwing darts, very relaxing. And again, you don't have to be great at it. Just know your distance, know what distance you're good at. I can shoot that thing from further away than I am, but I started. I'll let you go in a second. When I first got into the traditional archery, I had a compound bow. That was my entry into it about 20 years plus years ago, and a buddy of mine was shooting traditional. And I said, that looks like more fun, because I couldn't miss with that compound. It was like shooting a rifle, peep sight on it and all that stuff. And so that sounded more my style. So I shot his some, and it was so hard to pull back. It really was a turnoff at first until I built my shoulder up a little bit. Of course, he had like a 70-pound bow, I think. Man, he sold me one of his old bows, and I bought one of those square targets I'm talking about that you see in the sporting goods stores. And I knew my limitations. I set that thing and I shot from, like right about this distance. And I just kept shooting at that, and I didn't back up at all for a long time. And then I just gradually, I take a step back, because my goal was to never miss that target. Shoot from anywhere I want to, as long as I'm not going to miss. As long as I'm skilled enough to always hit the target, not worry about hitting it in the middle, but I'm not gonna miss it, And then I gradually back up, and I can hit like that guy from twice his distance without any trouble, but I could also miss him without any trouble. So anyway, thought I'd give you some lessons about archery since we're here, okay? And I've got my bow. So appreciate your all support and helping support the people that support us, keep us going, and. I have a lot of fun, as you can tell, shooting all the different things. I'm very fortunate. I always am totally, intimately, intensely aware of how fortunate I am. And there's never any doubt about that. And I feel very fortunate that we have enough strange folks like you all to come watch, right? Yeah. You better be strange. You can't relate to me if you're not. Life is good.